In the past year alone, over 2 million Ethiopians have been displaced from their homes, a staggering number that surpasses the total population of many African countries. This isn't just a humanitarian crisis. It's a symptom of a far deeper problem that's been brewing in Ethiopia for decades, and its implications are being felt across the entire continent. The ongoing conflict in Ethiopia is having a ripple effect on neighboring countries, with Eritrea, Djibouti, and Somalia all feeling the strain of increased refugee flows and economic disruption. The consequences of Ethiopia's instability are being felt in very real ways, from the 300,000 refugees who have fled to Sudan, to the 70% of Ethiopian children who are now missing out on education due to the conflict. In Kenya, the price of staple foods like maize and wheat has skyrocketed due to Ethiopia's inability to export, leaving many families struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, in Egypt, the government is growing increasingly concerned about the impact of Ethiopia's conflict on the Nile River, which provides water for over 90% of the country's population. To understand what's happening in Ethiopia, it's essential to look at the country's complex history and the various factors that have contributed to its current state. Ethiopia has long been a key player in African politics, with a proud history of independence and a strong sense of national identity. However, in recent years, the country has been plagued by internal conflicts, corruption, and human rights abuses. The current conflict began in 2020, when the government launched a military campaign against the Tigray People's Liberation Front, a rebel group that had been seeking greater autonomy for the Tigray region. Since then, the conflict has escalated, with reports of widespread human rights abuses, including massacres, rapes, and forced displacements. The international community has been criticized for its slow response to the crisis, with many African leaders accusing Western countries of hypocrisy and double standards. The African Union has been particularly ineffective in addressing the conflict, with some critics arguing that the organization is too focused on maintaining regional stability to take a strong stance against the Ethiopian government. Meanwhile, countries like China and the United Arab Emirates have been quietly increasing their influence in the region, providing financial and military support to the Ethiopian government in exchange for access to the country's strategic ports and natural resources. The conflict in Ethiopia is also having a significant impact on the country's economy, which was once one of the fastest growing in Africa. The war has disrupted trade and investment, leading to a sharp decline in economic growth and a significant increase in poverty. The Ethiopian birr has lost over 50% of its value against the US dollar in the past year, making it even harder for ordinary Ethiopians to afford basic necessities like food and medicine. The country's debt crisis is also deepening, with Ethiopia owing over $50 billion to international creditors, including the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. As the conflict continues to escalate, it's clear that the situation in Ethiopia is not just a local problem, but a regional and global one. The country's instability is having a ripple effect on the entire continent, from the refugee crisis in Sudan to the economic disruption in Kenya. The international community needs to take a stronger stance against the Ethiopian government and demand an end to the violence and human rights abuses. The African Union also needs to play a more active role in mediating the conflict and promoting a peaceful resolution. The situation in Ethiopia is a stark reminder of the complexity and fragility of African politics. Despite the continent's many successes and achievements, it's clear that there are still many challenges to be overcome. The conflict in Ethiopia is a wake-up call for African leaders and the international community to take a more proactive and nuanced approach to addressing the region's many challenges. By working together and supporting peaceful and democratic solutions, it's possible to build a more stable and prosperous future for all Africans. The outcome of the conflict in Ethiopia will have significant implications for the entire continent, from the stability of neighboring countries to the prospects for economic growth and development. As the situation continues to unfold, it's essential to stay informed and engaged, and to support efforts to promote peace, justice, and human rights in the region. The future of Africa depends on it. The stakes are high, and the consequences of inaction will be felt for generations to come. In the end, it's not just about Ethiopia, it's about the future of Africa and the world. The crisis in Ethiopia is a stark reminder that the pursuit of peace and stability is an ongoing struggle that requires constant effort and attention, and that the consequences of failure can be catastrophic.